Hey, what's up guys? I'm going to do a video on my Jagerwerks slide and the gun as a whole. I've had this for almost a year now and I've been carrying it for the last 7 or 8 months. And it's a really nice pistol, so I wanted to do a video. This is just a factory OEM Glock 17 slide that has been milled up by Jagerwerks. It's not an aftermarket slide, so this is factory. This is the Yeti package that they offer. They have a lot of packages and they do offer services for other types of slides. It has front and top serrations, also has a top window, has a dedicated RMR cut, and it has a black nitride finish. These rear serrations are just the factory Glock serrations, and the front and top ones they added are definitely a little bit more aggressive than the rear serrations, and they do give you a lot more traction. So you could actually use the serrations because they're aggressive enough to rack your slide or manipulate your pistol with one hand, and I like having that option. I know some people don't like carrying a pistol that has a window or a lightning cut. I personally have never had an issue. I have a lot of experience with the Glock 34. Carried that pistol before, and no one thinks of that pistol as being potentially unreliable due to having a very large lightning cut. So personally, it really doesn't bother me. Technically, it will help your slide cycle a little bit faster, but what it really does, at least in this case, is it helps balance out the slide. When you remove material from the rear and you add an optic that's basically sitting on top of your slide, it definitely changes your center of mass a little bit, and you can definitely tell when you're firing this pistol that the top window helps balance the pistol out a little bit. Especially if you put a heavy weapon light below, you'll have a really flat shooting pistol. It does have a very nice RMR cut that does have the front indexing post. Black nitride finish. This is a very good nitride finish. I'd say it's on par with the Glock Gen 4 finish. I've been carrying this for a while. I do live in Arizona where it does get very hot, so occasionally in the summer I will sweat on my pistol, and that does eat through the finish. There's only a little bit of wear though. As you can tell, there is a lot more wear on my optic than on the slide. But it's held up very nicely, and personally I prefer a DLC finish or a nitride finish over a Cerakote. There are some Cerakotes that look very nice. I've had a multi-cam Cerakote before, and some of them look beautiful, but they will wear down very fast, especially if you plan on carrying that pistol. And you got to remember that your finish more or less just protects against rust. So that's why I prefer to have a nitride or a DLC, because I have had guns rust before. Nothing too major, but it's definitely happened before. So I prefer a nitride finish. The optic cut it's pretty deep. There are deeper optic cuts, but you don't want to go too deep on an OEM slide because you still want to have room to have enough thread engagement so you can secure your optic to the slide. Overall, the machining on this is very nice. Durability, it's a Glock slide. I prefer to have an OEM slide, milled and cut, versus buying an aftermarket slide. And I've had a lot of aftermarket slides before. I've had Zev, Agency Arms, Grey Ghost, Rival. I've even had some of the aftermarket blank slides that companies buy to mill, and all those slides do not last as long as a factory OEM slide. I've had very nice slides from reputable companies that have weared out in less than 15,000 rounds. When you have something that's milled from a piece of billet or stainless, it's not going to be as durable as the Glock slide, unfortunately. In my experience, like on Zev slides, they usually start to loosen up around 10,000 rounds. Then by the time you get to 15 or 20, the tolerances become so loose that they begin to become unusable, unfortunately. But that's what happened in my experience. At least I do shoot a lot of very hot ammunition, but that's just one reason that I prefer to have a factory OEM slide. I do recommend Jagerwerks. There are other companies out there that are around the same price. There's Southwest Precision. I've had a slide by them and they did good work, but I prefer the optic cut on the Jagerwerks over the Southwest Precision. There is also Boogeyman Customs, which is a little bit more affordable than the Jagerwerks, and they do great work. I just prefer the optic cut again on the Jagerwerks. Other than that, I do have the holosun 508T sitting on top. When I initially got this slide and had this pistol, I wasn't even planning on carrying it, so I just threw the 508T on there instead of putting an RMR on. And I ended up liking it so much that I started carrying it, and I just left the holosun 508T on there. I also put a Surefire X300U on here. I do really like these lights, and if I have a gun I'm thinking about carrying, I just put a Surefire on it because I do usually carry with a Filster floodlight, which is basically a universal holster, and as long as you have your Surefire, most guns will fit because it has adjustable retention. I did stipple it, this frame, before I even had the slide. I did stipple this over a year ago, and it was one of my earlier jobs, but it's just a 20 LPI texture, and it's definitely more aggressive than your factory Glock textures. My initial trigger that I had in here started to wear out a little bit, and that trigger's been in at least 3 or 4 guns I've had, so I ended up putting this Overwatch precision aluminum trigger in here. And I just have it in here right now because I'm actually fitting it and doing some stoning on it, but I plan on probably just using this trigger after I fit it and get it the way I like. Other than that, I do have ameriglo sights on here. I just bought these because they're very affordable, and when you're running an optic, you really don't need any fancy sights with tritium or anything. I just want to have something that I can use as backup just in case my optic goes down. But this gun is a very flat shooting gun. It's a very nice shooting pistol, and I really like it. We'll try the trigger really quick. It's about a 4-pound break. You have a very smooth pre-travel, very soft. Then you get to a wall. It's a very firm wall, but the break isn't very snappy. It's like a very, very fast rolling break, and I really like it. The reason I like triggers like that on the Glock is because you can stage them. You can take up the pre-travel to that wall, reconfirm your sights, and you can pull on it a little bit, and you know the next fraction of an inch you move that trigger, your striker's going to drop. So I do like very short rolling break triggers on Glocks, as long as there's a predictable wall. But other than that, that's my pistol. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, go ahead and leave them down below. That'll be it, guys. Thanks for watching.